I'm here in London with Melinda Gates. She's here for a conference on birth control organised by the Gates Foundation with the British government. I was wondering if we could start off by talking about the new direction that you're taking, and I wondered if you could tell us what this pledge is that you're going to make and what it feels like to you to be doing this.
Well, the pledge is to get 120 million women access to contraceptives by the year 2020. And the whole idea is to put this back on the global health agenda. It hasn't been forefront on the global health agenda for a very long time, and it's never been done in a way that's really woman-centric. And this is about saying, this is about women. This is about giving them access to the tools that they want so they can decide if and when they want to have a child. And women say over and over again, I want to be able to put time between one child and another, because if I can, I know I can continue breastfeeding this baby, I can work on my farm, I can feed this one, I care about this child, and then I'll have another one. But the women talk constantly, it's a universal theme when I go out about, I want to be able to feed my children, and what I really want to do is educate my children. And the only way I can do that is if I don't have so many. And so we're finally going to give them the tools to make sure they can do that.
I saw that you said in Berlin, I think it was a few weeks ago, when you kind of announced that this conference would be happening, you said that you felt it should be, or was, a pretty uncontroversial idea that women all over the world should have access to contraception. But we all know, it's very controversial to one particular group of people, and those are the men who run the Catholic Church. Now, you, interestingly, are a Catholic yourself, a church-going, believing Catholic, and I wonder how you reconcile these two big issues in your life.
Well, the Catholic Church believes in a form of contraception, and that is natural family planning, natural birth spacing. And that's an okay method to teach women. Women do use that in the developing world. I still hear women that also do coitus interruptus. I mean, they have to use what's available. But there are also modern tools, and I feel like there's space for everybody to do their work. For our foundation, what we will be promoting the very most is the modern tools, because we know those have the most impact. But I think what happens is, because people focus on the controversy with the Catholic Church, they don't focus on the other part of the mission. And the Catholic Church has a beautiful mission around social justice. They care about poor people. They do incredible work through Catholic Relief Services. So for me, what I'm trying to emphasize is the social justice piece of our mission. And that's really where my roots come from. And then make sure we all have space to do the work that we care about doing on the ground, on all methods, and let a woman choose what it is she would like to use.
It makes perfect sense what you're saying, but of course that's not what the bishops in Rome would say. They would say, and they have already said, because they know what you're doing, that what you're doing isn't right, because they are pretty centrally against artificial birth control. As you rightly say, natural is another matter, but they are against artificial birth control. And I just wonder, I hear what you're saying, but did you wrestle inside yourself?
Of course I wrestled with this, absolutely. As a Catholic, you say, I believe in this religion. There are amazing things about this religion, amazing moral teachings that I believe, but I also have to go to, how do we keep women alive? I believe in not letting women die. To me, that's more important than arguing about what method of contraceptive. So yes, I wrestled with it. And the way you wrestle with it is by seeing on the ground the impact it will make. And I just came back from Senegal and Niger, and the number of women who told me they knew somebody who died in childbirth because the woman was either too young or she had babies too close together. I was astounded in Niger and Senegal. It's incredible. It's palpable when you're on the ground. It's not something that's an abstract number. It's real.
Of course, in the West, we know that most Catholics, they take a liberal view on contraception. But that's not the case, I think, always in Africa and Asia. And there are large Catholic populations in those continents. So it does matter what the Catholic bishops say and the Catholic hierarchy says. And I just wonder if you might feel that part of your mission is to change what they're saying. You're a very influential woman, and they're a very influential church. And what they say matters. Could you take on as part of your agenda changing those men in Rome and their view?
I think my goal is to make sure women have access to contraceptives. Let women vote with their feet. So in the West, that is what the bishops say, but what do women do? In my country, where it's considered highly controversial, more controversial with the bishops than it is in Europe, 82% of Catholics say that contraception is morally acceptable. So let the women in Africa decide. The choice is up to them. So I have to focus where I can have the greatest impact, and where I can have the greatest impact is talking to the women and talking to the moms, talking to the people who are really believe the same things that I believe in this area. I have had thousands of women come on to the various websites where I've done videos and say, I believe in this. I'm a Catholic, I believe in my religion, but I also believe in contraceptives.
I think one of the things you're going to do is research into other sorts of contraception. I just wonder whether what you're doing might have implications for women all over the world, in the West as well as in developing countries, if there are new forms of contraception that might emerge.
Because we're putting money back into this research agenda, we're going to come up with new tools for women. And what I'm most excited about is thinking about tools that will have perhaps fewer side effects, but can be longer lasting. What I care about is taking that woman in the developing world, putting her at the heart of the agenda. A woman I just met in Niger, Sadie, she told me she walks 15 kilometers every 3 months in the heat to get an injection. And she said to me, there's a health post. You could see it from her house. I just visited. She said, why can't I get that injection there? Well, research money coming in and having a new form of an injection, one that is in a smaller pack that a field healthcare worker could give out, means her health post could have one. That's what I want us to create with the research money.
The club of world philanthropists, I suppose, tends to be men. It tends to be men who control the money in our world generally. You're somebody who's unusual. You're unusual in that you're a woman and at this table. And I just wonder how much that, being a woman and being a mother, maybe informs the direction that you go in.
It informs hugely. It informs hugely the work. And I think, you know, had I had my druthers, it would have been nice to stay as a private citizen. But part of the reason that I am so public about what we do in the philanthropy is because it does take a woman to speak out about these issues. I mean, why have women not been at the heart, the very heart of a global health agenda? It's because we don't have enough women speaking out and saying this is the right thing to do. I can't turn away. I've seen far too much in the developing world. It's a huge privilege to be able to travel the places I travel in Africa and Bangladesh and in India. And I feel like we need to give voice to those women who are all over the planet who don't have voice on the world stage. And so for whatever reason I find myself in that position, I feel like I really need to speak out.
And it's really something that you're taking on for the rest of your life, I think, isn't it?
Absolutely. This will be my life's work.
Thank you very much, Melinda.